Welcome everyone to another episode of Dynamics Corner. What ISV is out there that offers free stuff and just be transparent? I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode is recorded on June 4th, 2025. Kris. We'll learn about that in this episode and many more things because I brought some friends with me. I brought the fulfillment froggy. I brought the barcode bear. I brought the logistics llama, as well as the production puffin.
Nice.
We'll learn about all of these as well, too. With us today, we had the opportunity to speak with Mark Hamblin from InsightWorks.
Good afternoon.
It's going well. How about yourself? Good. You know, it's that time of year. It's rainy season finally hit, and I think I need to build a boat. This time last year when rainy season hit, it's a little fun fact. I had fish swimming in my yard, and I'm nowhere near.
Nowhere near like a lake or anything like that?
No, they have the canals for all the rain and for drainage because of rainy season. I never understood why you had such big canals or ditches on the sides of the roads or even in the neighborhoods until you have rainy season because they fill up. But I learned that all the water backs up. So all the drainage, because we had so much rain last year, the fish swim up the canals into the drainage like tubes into the yard. I even walked in the neighborhood and I saw many more.
That's a meal, man. That's
I'm not going to go fishing for those. I'll have to send you a picture of it. So that's the start of my summer. It's been raining for days.
Where is that? Where are you located?
I'm in Florida right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's this time of year in Florida, in South Florida, the rain just
you're
whips.
pretty flat out though. You're kind of like sea level, right? So you know, there's not much.
Kind of sea level. When I track my runs,
You're below sea level.
I do my Garmin, and the run will track the elevation. You know, the elevation gained and lost. I sometimes have negative elevation, so there's parts of my run in my neighborhood we're below sea level. I'll tell you, man. I think Florida's going to wash away one day.
That's craziness.
You are all up in the Northwest, right? So you don't have to deal with all that.
Yeah, well, I'm up in Canada, so we're north, but we're kind of middle north, I guess, is where we are.
You're the true north.
Yeah, well, I mean, the next town over is 300 and some miles north of us. So,
Wow.
that's the north. I used to live up there in Fort McMurray.
Oh, wow.
With the oil sands and stuff, but yeah, now we're kind of like in the middle, which is about, I don't know, what is it, 600 miles north of like North Dakota, and anyway, somewhere.
Wow.
That must be nice being way up there. It must be nice and quiet.
It is, yeah. We don't get any of the goofy stuff. I mean, we had a tornado here like decades and decades ago. We got no stupid weather. We got no earthquakes. We got none of that junk. It's
Snow?
yeah. We get lots of snow.
I'm sure they get lots of outdoor activities too, right?
Yeah. Last year we went down, out in the country, like we have horses. It was down to -50. In the city, it was only -45-ish. So yeah, it gets cold once in a while.
Fun fact, I lived in Alaska for a short period of, for 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I realized about the cold, it would get -10, -20 Fahrenheit. And when everyone's like, well, it gets cold. And I told everybody, well, you get used to it. And the cold is the cold, don't get me wrong. And you're up north, so you understand. Once you get -10, the difference between -10 and -20 really isn't much, I don't think. I think cold is cold. But it's not like the rest of the U.S. or the southern portions of it, where it will be 20 one day, it'll be 60 the next day. Then it goes back to 30. So you don't have the opportunity. Up north, it gets cold. It just gets cold and it stays cold and dark for months. So you don't have the teaser, as they call it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, enough about the weather. The deluge of rain today. It's been pouring. And when I say pouring, like you think someone's pouring buckets all day. So I just thought it would be an interesting thing to share. Been looking forward to speaking with you. Have a lot of things I'd like to talk about, and your wonderful, great suite of products that you have. But if you could, before we get into that conversation, mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where do I start? I mean, geez. Well, I've been, with InsightWorks since the beginning. I call myself a solution advisor. That's really what I'm there for, is to sort of look at what customers have, what they need, what we have. Is there a fit? Are there gaps? How can we help that customer be successful, either with or without our products? So that's kind of what I do here. And InsightWorks has been around for about 10 years now, under that sort of name, though some of the products predate the actual start of InsightWorks.
So with InsightWorks has a suite of products for Business Central, with a variant suite of products. I think you have over 30, I think. A lot of times I think of the InsightWorks warehousing, but what are some of the other products that you have?
Yeah, so, we focus really on manufacturing and distribution, and now we're getting more and more into retail. And so just quick overview, and then I'll mention some of the specific ones. But really, what we did was we came into Business Central, and we used to actually be a VAR. We used to implement NAV and things like that. And my past history has been more product development focused. So we started building products very quickly. And, we looked at the gaps in NAV and Business Central, and what manufacturers needed and what distributors needed, and kind of tried to fill in those gaps. So even when we talk about the retail, we have something called counter sales, which, there's a lot of retailers using now. And it was not really meant so much for retailers, more for, yeah, I'm a distributor and I've got an outlet store, I'm a manufacturer, and I've got a parts counter that people can come up to. That's kind of what we built it for. So a lot of the products sort of follow that. We've lived that world, in the real life. We've been in these situations. I used to be an operations manager. I used to be an auto mechanic many years ago. Things like that. So we've got a lot of people that have come up through industry and can spot those gaps and build something that the people actually need and use. So, warehouse management is one of the big ones, because barcoding has become so accessible in the last decade or two. But we've got shop floor data collection. We've got, as I mentioned, the counter sales for point of sale type stuff. We've got quality inspections. We've got shipping. We've got fulfillment tools. We've got maintenance management now, tons of stuff to sort of build that end-to-end solution for manufacturing distribution.
No, it's great. You have a great
Wow.
suite of products. As far as to talk about the origin of InsightWorks a little bit, and it seems you had mentioned before you were a VAR and then realized the gaps and then created these apps for AppSource now that you have. How long ago did InsightWorks start as an ISV?
As an ISV, I think our first sale was I think 2013 of something outside of our VAR business, right? So we'd have our customers that we'd implement to NAV for, and we kind of build these products that would include that with our deployments. And then we started selling. I think 2013 was the first time we sold something outside of our own customer base. And then 2015 is really when we started InsightWorks. That was sort of the inaugural website in 2015. So InsightWorks, and that's really where we started focusing on being an ISV, not a VAR with some products that we can include. And since then we've moved away from that entire VAR business. We don't run that at all anymore. We don't have it. We focus really on the ISV side. So yeah, about 10 years I would say for InsightWorks, but again, some of those products predate that time frame just because we did them when we were still a VAR.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
No, it is. And just to talk about some of it, I do want to get into some of more details, because Business Central itself is a fully functional ERP application, and it's nice that VARs, ISVs, and some VARs, if customers, if there are some gaps, as you had mentioned, that there are options available. So I'd like to talk about some of those gaps that may be filled by some of your, the more popular products within the warehouse management and the distribution area, because that's maybe some of the more popular ones. Which versions of Business Central do you support? Do you support Business Central online, on-premise? And if you do support on-premise, how far back? Which versions?
Yeah, so we still support Nav 2013 all the way up to the current Business Central SaaS version. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, we go back quite a ways. We have a couple of customers still running our stuff on like Nav 2009 Classic and things like that. But all the new development is going into sort of the newest Business Central, and we like to focus on the SaaS. 5 years ago, I would have said it's, depending on who you are, it's iffy as to whether you should go to the cloud or not. Today, it's a no-brainer. I mean, to me, the cloud makes the most sense. I don't like it when we get on-prem installs anymore because they're so much more painful than the cloud. But yeah, most of the development, those older versions have supported versions that run, but obviously all the new features that you find in Business Central that we can leverage, all the new stuff is going into the latest. And then on the cloud side, we give away a lot of free products. We got a ton of free stuff we give away, and we try and keep that, sort of cloud only to, sweeten the deal, I guess, for people moving to the cloud. When you go to the cloud, you get a bunch of free stuff. So there you go.
That's great. Well, maybe we can talk about some of the
nice.
free stuff. Speaking of free stuff, I do have to say this one thing. Whomever came up with this,
Ah, yes. I got so many of those.
We'll talk about this, but I have the of all of these. I go to many conferences. Kris and I both do, and we see everybody at these conferences. And this is always one of the most memorable things: is the InsightWorks stuffed animals. And this InsightWorks Logistics Llama happens to be my favorite. So who came up with this idea? I know we want to talk about the product, but everybody goes to the comments. Who came up with these? And I love the names.
Yeah, as an aside, all of these guys, like, obviously this guy is also one of the popular llama and the platypus. But if you go to the websites, like you can go to logisticsllama.com or packagingplatypus.com, and it's got a little bio on the guy and, what they do in their spare time, and all sorts of fun stuff. So they're great for kids. Anyway, we came up with that, I think, in like I don't know, it was like 2016-ish timeframe. We're at Summit, and I was there with another guy, and I had seen these like 20-foot tall or 10-foot tall stuffed bears online somewhere, and I thought, hey, we should get one of those for the booth. And he took it one step further and like, yeah, we should get a mascot costume and call Barcoding Bear, and the guy can walk around. And we settled on neither of those, but we thought a bear would be a good mascot, right? So we got these little stuffed animals, the little bears, called a Barcoding Bear. Exactly.
The Barcoding Bear. I have the Barcoding Bear right here too.
And now, the original one actually had a little shirt instead of embroidered, and it was kind of fun. But yeah, and it's grown quite a bit. We've got 6 now in our little stable of stuffed animals.
Oh.
It's genius, because a lot of people don't realize when you're going to conferences, you want something that's memorable, and then it's like one of a kind. And then most times you want to bring something back to the family, right? So this is like perfect.
I don't pick up swag because it's just a lot. And unless it really serves a purpose. The stuffed animals serve a great purpose, like you said, Kris, because you can bring it back. And there's some other things I pick up, but a lot of the stuff is just waste. But now that you said you have 6, I realize I'm missing one.
Well, so it's actually 7.
Oh, I'm missing 2. I have to.
So we've got Fulfillment Froggy, we've got Logistics Llama, we've got Production Puffin, we've got Packaging Platypus, Barcoding Bear, obviously the original. So those are the main 5. Then we've got a 6th one coming in the fall. So if you're at Directions EMEA, you'll see it there. Otherwise, you'll see it at Summit most likely. And that's a quokka, quality quokka.
Oh,
A good quality inspection solution. So quality quokka, and that one's kind of cool. And then we have a limited edition. This guy here, he is TechWorks Tamarin. So he's a little monkey that we
Whoa.
had for TechWorks conference, and it's a monkey, first of all, a tamarin, which is a type of monkey, for the alliteration, right? You gotta have TechWorks tamarin.
yes.
Plus, he's a monkey, and it was a development conference, so he's a code monkey for it.
That's
So he was our little mascot for our conference.
That's awesome.
that's creative, and now I know. Just I'll have to reserve the ones that are missing for Summit. I'll be there early, so I'll have to hit up whomever's at the booth to get some of those to take them back, because
The quack will be fun, and we also started shipping these to customers. So when people buy a license, like if they buy our dynamic ship product as an example, we'll ship them the packaging platypus, right? So we'll ship out these little stuffies. So you go into some of these facilities and they got these little stuffies sitting at the shipping counter or whatever. I heard from one person at a conference where they're going live, and the shipping guy or one of the warehouse guys, they're struggling with the change, and what he do is he'd give the stuffy a big hug every time he gets stressed. He's walking around like using this thing as a emotional support animal or something like that.
That's genius.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. We had people on social media. There was someone took it all over the world, like Antarctica and Peru and all sorts of weird places. There's these photos of these things. Anyway, so it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I didn't want to jump into it, but as we were talking about this, the family loves those stuffed animals, and it's always something nice to bring back with it as well too. So you have a full suite of products, and you talked about dynamic ship. We talked about the warehouse insights, order fulfillment, and then your counter sales, and you also have the handheld, I believe, option as well for Business Central. I do like to talk about some of those features within there, but did your offering support any other products besides Business Central, or is it just Business Central focused?
No, we're focused on Business Central, and we had a lot of people actually asking that, especially when you go to the conferences where there's mixed products, right? Like F&O is there, and GP and things like that, and people ask, and for us, it's not really worth it. Business Central is growing so fast. There's so much opportunity, and there's so many people that need our solutions within the Business Central world that I think it would just be a distraction to go elsewhere. So yeah, we're strictly Business Central. We're focused.
Excellent. I like that personally, because I think if you're focusing on one product, you can put all your energy in that one product, and then you can have a better offering.
Yep.
Instead of trying to support multiple applications where you have one foot in many camps and you may not be able to provide the offering. So having one solution, from my personal opinion, I think is extremely beneficial for a product, because that's their effort, where it's being pushed. Let's talk about some of the products and going through the cycle of somebody who is using Business Central, and Business Central has, like we had mentioned, has a lot of features, but sometimes we're facing additional gaps. Within your product offering, what are some indications that someone may need to use one of your products, such as Dynamic Ship, and then to go to maybe to your handheld or some of your warehouse management apps?
Yeah, so it's a good question and a good point. I mean, Business Central is a very comprehensive solution, right? Like it's got the warehousing in it, it's got a lot of the manufacturing capabilities in it, at least at a sort of core level. But Microsoft can't do everything, right? They can't build out these best of breed solutions as quickly or necessarily as well sometimes as what the ISVs can. So, but to answer your specific question, really what it comes down to, I use this term a lot, or this phrase, what you want to do when you're doing an implementation is look at what your best practice physical processes should be. Like, how are you going to be the most efficient in your environment? Because, we're not dealing with accounting and stuff like that for the most part. We're dealing with people working in shops and warehouses, and it's very physical, right? So you want to be as efficient as possible in your physical environment. Once you've got that laid out, what software do you need to support those physical processes? How do you make your virtual world match your physical world? Right. So really the first step is, if I had a magic wand, what would make me the most efficient as possible in the shop or the warehouse? Okay, in order to be that efficient, I'm going to need software that supports this, and this. And quite often, when you get into that, you get into automation and validation, things like that, which is scanning barcodes for your picking, so your warehouse management type of thing, you know, spending way less time generating shipping labels and doing the shipping verification at the same time, those types of things. All of those sorts of things, overall reduce the effort and improves the efficiency in like a warehouse facility. Same thing in shop floor, right? Like, or in a manufacturing environment. You want to have like an efficient production schedule. You want to have the people on the shop floor be able to report accurately what they're working on, right? Those sorts of things don't really exist properly in Business Central today. So when people run into those situations where they're like, you know what, we can't be as efficient as possible if we don't have something that does X. Well, we're that X, right? In a lot of cases, we're one ISV, and we've got those 30 products, and they come to one organization, and they've got everything they need really to help facilitate those physical processes in the shop or the warehouse.
No, it is. It's a challenge to do it. And as far as through the implementation process of it, like I had mentioned, I do want to kind of hone in on some of these individual specific ones. But so now that they've determined that they need you need to work with InsightWorks, typically, how does an implementation go? Is it more partner driven? Does InsightWorks come in and help with the implementation? How does an implementation typically go of these processes?
Yeah, good question. And most of them sort of follow the same process. There's a few where it's not quite, and I'll maybe describe what I mean there. But yeah, we are very partner centric, right? We want people to work with their partners. We want them to have that strong relationship, because the partner is going to be able to go in there and do that consulting, whereas we may not have that capacity. I mean, we do 300 and some projects a year. We're not going to necessarily be able to go in and do those deep dives and that real consulting work that the partners are able to do. But for our little piece, like let's say warehousing, somebody wants to get warehouse management going in Business Central. Well, they're going to engage the partner to sort of get that core Business Central capability set up, like set up the bins and make sure their inventory is set up properly, and all of those sorts of things related to making sure the core Business Central is working properly. And then we can jump in, and we have a fixed price project with a very formal project plan that you can find on our website, that we go through to actually implement that additional portion of capability that we bring to the table. Now, sometimes partner does that. We have lots of partners out there that have been working with us for a very long time and can do those implementations themselves. And other times they have us do it. So we work on behalf of the partner. We work directly with the customer, and we'll do that implementation. And typically they're fixed price, and they're honestly not a lot of money for getting up and running with a warehouse management solution. Right? I mentioned earlier, I'm sidetracking a little bit here, but mentioned earlier, barcoding has become a lot more accessible in the last couple of decades. And what I meant by that is really from a cost perspective and just ubiquity of what's available to do this automated data collection with barcoding. Back in the day, and even today, you buy an external, like a standalone WMS that you integrate with Business Central. I mean, you're looking at 100,000, 200,000 and up to do the implementation and get the integration working and everything else. I mean, we're a small fraction of that to implement it because we're built into Business Central. And the hardware cost has come down and everything else, just to make it, to speak to that sort of accessibility of being able to do barcoding nowadays. But, so anyway, that was my sidetrack. But, back to the question on projects. So I would say it's 50-50. Half the time we go in there and we'll do the implementation, and we're working with the partner and making sure that they know what's going on and understand how they wanted things configured to sort of match those physical processes we talked about. We'll go in there, that we'll do the implementation, we'll do the UAT support, we'll do the post-go live support. We'll kind of handle all of that ourselves. And some customers will go to the partner for their tier 1 support. Others come directly to us. We're very flexible. we want to do whatever the customer is comfortable with and whatever is going to make them successful. That's what it was.
I do like that approach, and it's refreshing to hear because I know the partners have a varying size and partners have varying levels of experience. And with all the features that are added to Business Central, sometimes it's not possible to know all of the ISVs nor to know all of the apps or to even know all of the features of Business Central. So to be able to have the option of having someone, as you had mentioned, such as yourself, you can come in for a specific task or function to set up some of these products or these apps and these processes with a customer, that they'll be successful. So a partner is not struggling to try to figure out and learn and maybe misrepresent the product as well too. So having an offering of both is good. Do you offer training for these products?
We do, yeah. So, I mean, we do partner training for the partners that do want to implement them themselves. But as part of the implementation, we'll do the training. And we have a lot of, content on our knowledge base and on YouTube and things like that for partners and customers to sort of dig in and learn some of those things on their own. But, we're always an email or a phone call away if people have questions and want to learn more and get some additional training. So, yeah, I think maybe we've caused some people to change their behaviors, their business behaviors, like our mostly other ISVs. When we started with InsightWorks, we opened up the road, as the saying kind of goes. We put everything online. Like, you want to see how the product works? Here it is. You want to see a full demo? You don't need to put in your email address. Here it is. It's on YouTube. You go watch this hour-long demo that shows you everything about how our product works. People don't like doing that. They still don't, right? A lot of times, even just to get a data sheet, you have to fill in your information to download a PDF, right? So nobody was doing that at the time, and a few people have started now doing it. But our thought was, yeah, well, if our competitors want to copy us and see how we do things, great. Then we'll just have to be better, and that's how we do it. So we are very open with all that information. We have sample code repositories if people want to do their own development. We try and help them along on how to do that themselves. So there's lots of training material out there. And again, we'll do the sort of interactive training whenever somebody wants it.
Yeah, that's very, very important nowadays, right? Because of the fact that a lot of people can research. I mean, newer generations coming up in the industry, so they tend to do a lot more research before jumping in. Back in the day when everything was nav, you kind of rely on your partner at that time, whatever they recommended, you took it. Now with the app source marketplace, as a partner, it's much more difficult to know every single available applications out there. And so for you to be able to offer that and at the same time offer the support and then putting everything out there for them to access to learn on their own, including for clients as well, it's nice to have an ISV that can do that.
Yeah, and your point there on customers finding the product now and then deciding it before talking to the partner. We talk to partners and they hate that. I mean, I understand both sides of it, right? Like, if I'm a customer, hey, this is what I want. Like, make it happen, Mr. Partner. And then the partner's like, well, I have no idea who this is or what this is or how to support it or how to even, pay for it. Like, what am I? And now the partner is got these dozens of, ISV relationships because the customers keep choosing weird things that the partner's never heard of. So it can be challenging from a partner perspective. And again, that I think is one of our strengths, right? Because we have such a wide range of solutions that fill all those gaps. You don't need to have those dozens of relationships. You have one relationship with us, and we kind of, help you along with most of what you need, at least in the areas we play in.
No, I laugh a little bit like Kris because I hear that with a lot of partners, because with AppSource having over 5,000 apps, I think, or close to 6,000 apps now, I can't keep up with it. It is the case where a lot of times customers will find and download and install things and then call the partner and say, oh, by the way, my system's not working. I installed this app. So it is a little challenge, but I do appreciate the transparency, as Kris had mentioned. I think the generations that are looking now, business generations, I could call it, they're doing a lot more research ahead of time and they get more comfort versus reaching out and saying, okay, here's all my information. I just want to know something. We can go through it. So I appreciate the full transparency with products myself, because even if I'm doing research for something, I always try to look at it that way as well. I want to have enough.
Yeah, it drives me nuts if I have to. I just want a data sheet on something, and I got to fill in my contact info. Like, come on, it drives me insane. And if I hate it, why would I enforce that or force that sort of requirement on anybody else? So anyway,
Yeah.
most of probably most of the way we work is because I'm just getting grumpy in my old age or something. Grumpy and lazy, and so if I don't like it, then probably nobody else likes it, and so we're not going to do it, and that's kind of how it goes. But
That's actually a good approach, I think. If I don't like it, nobody else will like it. To go through it as well, which is good. So I just want to do a quick run through some of these products that you have, just to go through it, and I'd like to dive into some more of them. So you have the advanced inventory count. You have the barcode generator. You have the counter sales, which we spoke about, which is for retail. I've been hearing a lot about POS these days recently. I know Kris and I have had several conversations about some of the options are out there, and it seems it's nice to know that you have the counter sales option. You have the dock extender, the dynamic ship products, and then you have the enhanced forecasting, enhanced planning worksheet, the graphic scheduler, which gives you, I believe, a Gantt chart for scheduling jobs as well. You have your planning review, license plating, which is also another great option. Maintenance manager, multi-level BOM viewer, the MX app maps, your order fulfillment worksheet, your order ship express. You have a lot. Print node connector. That I have so many stories about printing with Business Central Online. We'll talk about print node too. Product configurator, product order analysis, quality inspector, routing analysis, safety logbook, shop floor insights, warehouse insights, and the WMS Express. How do you have time to do all of those?
Yeah, we have good people. So we've got a very strong team. A lot of them I've known for literally decades. When I came over with InsightWorks, a lot of them came with me from previous jobs. So anyway, we have excellent people. We work hard. I mean, we've got fantastic QA team. I think, what is it, 6 people on QA and deployment now that do nothing but make sure that the quality is built into the products. Large development team working their butts off every day. So yeah, we've got very good people, right? And again, we've got that sort of industry experience from product management perspective, where we know what to build. We're not doing a lot of trial and error. We say this is what we need, and we build it, and it's a lot more streamlined. So yeah, it's not easy.
I can imagine.
But I think I'm done for a while. I'm not sure we're going to have any new products for a while. There's lots of new features I want, but I'm not sure about new products.
I'm sure it must be difficult to manage and keep up with them all and understand them all, even understand them all. Talk about versioning. We talked about Business Central Online, Business Central on premises. You support some older versions as well. Are there any regions that you do not support, or are all regions supported? So it's primarily, North America, World One, or some of the other countries. The Business Central now is operating, I think, 170 countries now, Kris, or 150, or I forget the number. It's growing. Your product suite available in all those countries?
It is, yeah. So we support pretty much every country where Business Central works. Like counter sales, we have a North American version and a worldwide version, just for the tax localizations and things like that. But yeah, we pretty much support every region. Languages are a challenge, right? So that's doing appropriate translations is always a challenge. So that's one of the things that is constantly something that we're looking to improve. But yeah, we do support all of those regions, and we are growing in Europe. I mean, we've got maybe 75 or 100 partners roughly in Europe now that are actively selling, promoting the solutions. So we're predominantly North American based. Most of our businesses is in North America, but Europe is definitely a growing region, in Australia. Europe and Australia are both growing pretty rapidly at this point.
That's good.
I would want to point out that I love the way your website's designed, because I think very few, if not probably the only one that I've come across, where you can go to your website, look at the apps, and then filter on the categories. I think right now you have business operations. You can filter by free and subscription, and then compatibility and licensing options, which are the typical questions that people want to look at anyway. And so for you to be able to go to your website, filter quickly and say, okay, this is exactly what I need, and it's free, and I want to enable it. This is very, very intuitive, even from a consultant perspective, or even a partner that maybe have not partnered with you yet, and they want to see, okay, how can I work with InsightWorks? This
Exactly.
is nice.
Yeah, and that's kind of the goal. And then when you find something, hey, this might fit, you can jump in and watch, 45-minute or an hour-long demo to see, is it actually going to work, or get that base information on it, or jump into the knowledge base and learn all about all the technical details of it and everything else, right? I mean, we're almost putting a roadmap for our competitors out on our website, and honestly, great. Steal our ideas, make them better, and then we'll learn from you, and we'll make ours better. And we'll just keep improving, right? So it's all
You
good.
will never be the only one, I tell everybody, because if you have something great, somebody else will try to create it. So your
Yeah.
point of, well, we just have to be better is profound. I appreciate that as well, because you'll never be the only one. The world is a big place, and there's a lot of talented people. So
Exactly.
it's, you
Yeah.
just have to be better. And also when it comes to business, just keep your customers happy as well. I mean, if the customers are happy and they're getting what they need, then they'll appreciate it as well. So with all the products that you have, the print node I talked about, because I've used the print node, set that up print node, because with Business Central Cloud, the cloud printing was a little bit challenging, and print node is a great application to facilitate the printing and being able to automatically print on there as well, which is a good solution. What would you say is the more popular products that the customers are using?
Yeah. So
Targeted
I'll answer that
question.
question, but you're gonna put up with the story before I answer.
I'm always willing to hear a story.
So print node connector, which is free, and doc extender, which is also free for drag and drop document management. We put those out fairly early. So we had the 11th app on AppSource for Business Central. That's including all the Microsoft apps that were published at the time. It's actually a Canadian payroll app, which we don't have anymore. But Microsoft in Canada approached us to build something, because they felt at the time payroll was a big gap in their offering for what was at that time called, what the heck was it? Dynamics 365 for finance, not finance and operations. Right? This is the original version of Business Central Online, where they didn't really do much other than basic finance stuff. Anyway, we're the 11th app, and at the time, and shortly after, we put our warehouse Insight product up on AppSource, and that, by the way, is currently probably the most popular product, to answer your first question. But when we put that up, we realized a few things. Number one, cloud printing is not available for Business Central yet, because we were early. This is 2017, 2018 timeframe. So there's no cloud printing. There's no barcode fonts. There's no way to easily attach documents with drag and drop, those sorts of things. So, well, we better build it, because we need to support our solution. So we built Print Node Connector. I'm thinking, it'll last 6 months, and Microsoft will have this solved, right? They'll have universal print available, and nobody will need our thing. So we'll just build it, and we'll use it, and that'll be that. Well, that's 8 years ago. And Print Node Connector, out of the free products, is probably the most popular. Like, we've got 10,000 installs of that, because it is free. You pay Print Node, a few bucks a month to use their service, but our connector is completely free, which annoys me, because again, I thought it would last like 6 months, and you can actually resell. So for partners out there listening, you can actually resell the print node service. You can buy it for $2, sell it for $9, and make $7 a month per customer. Well, I got 10,000 of those guys out there. That could be 70,000 a month. I could be making off reselling that service, and we're making nothing. We're giving it away. So anyway, partners can make some money on that, I feel like. But yeah, so the same thing with Doc Extender. 8 years later, and it's still a great tool for putting documents on SharePoint or right in Business Central. And Microsoft hasn't quite closed that gap yet. And even barcode generator, again, we needed to have something to be able to print barcodes. And we have a barcoding solution. What do you mean you can't print barcodes? So we built that for Business Central, made it free. And again, we've got 7,000 or 8,000 at least customers out there using it. And Microsoft finally did add the barcode fonts, but they didn't add all of the ones that people need. So yeah, barcode generator is still very viable, 7 or 8 years after the fact. Even though we thought those 3 products would last maybe 6 months before Microsoft would fill that gap. But yeah, they're still going strong.
That's great. That's great.
Awesome.
No, I always appreciate the stories. I always like to hear the evolution of some of these things, or the background behind it as well too. To see where they come from, because as you had mentioned, a lot of these things just they evolve through implementations and listening to customers, which is good.
I was gonna ask you, with all the products that you have in apps, it's like I'm gonna ask you a question that's it's like, well, who's your favorite kid? What's your favorite app?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Warehouse Insight is pretty cool.
Okay.
Okay, it's barcode scanning, and we have the free version, the WMS Express, which we have probably more installs of the free version than the paid version. We actually have some people that have canceled the paid version to go to the free version versus the other way around. We almost never have people going from the free to paid, but the other way happens. But yeah, Warehouse Insight, I mean, people don't realize really the technology and the capability within that thing. So yeah, it's an app that runs on the device. Lets you scan barcodes. Ooh, big deal. But it's got a full application designer in there, right? So it's got this Blockly editor. So kids that are going into grade 6 are using the same tool to sort of learn coding. Well, we've got that, so consultants can actually go in there. Like, you don't need to be a developer to build your own handheld applications or to extend the existing applications. So you've even got a wizard and an AI-driven wizard where you can just describe the application you want and it'll build you a mobile app. Like, that's part of our solution. We've got our own little marketplace. We've got our own little marketplace called the add-on catalog. Like, you want to extend the capabilities. There's 30 some or whatever apps that are on there. You click a button and bang, you've got it on the handheld or within Business Central. So even things like proof of delivery and fixed asset counting and all these different solutions you can plug in, no cost. All the code is there. You can do whatever the heck you want with it. You don't even have to tell us you're using it, and off you go, right? So it's more than just this app that scans barcodes. It's really a full development platform. Very, very powerful tool. Pardon me. We've actually started building some of our other products on that same platform. So our Shop Floor Insight, you can now get a version of that that runs within the Warehouse Insight platform. And our counter sales, which is retail, that can also run on that Warehouse Insight platform. So if you want a fancy touchscreen user interface, well, it runs within Warehouse Insight. So anyway, that's my favorite. I shouldn't say favorite, but that's a pretty cool one. The other one that I really like is Order Fulfillment Worksheet, because it's such a simple concept, so powerful, and everybody doing any amount of volume in a warehouse needs that sucker, and it's not a lot of money either. So yeah, those two, I guess.
The 2 favorite children.
No, it doesn't mean you don't like any of the other
I'm
children.
just kidding.
It doesn't.
That's awesome.
It doesn't mean you
all
don't like.
product managers and developers and InsightWorks that are going to listen to this are all going to be mad at me now. Like, what do you mean? I like mine better. You don't love me anymore.
Tell them they need to do better, and then they could be the favorite child again. That's all you need to do. It does.
Yeah.
Listen, just because you have a favorite doesn't mean you don't appreciate the others. I have favorite things that I like to eat. It doesn't mean that I dislike all the other food. It's just
That's true.
It's just one that I like the most. I hate to talk about this because this is all I ever hear about. But it's been Kris knows where I'm going with this, but I almost feel like I have to because I'm obligated to for some reason.
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going?
Probably.
What do you guess?
I guess it's AI.
Yes, See, that was the lead-in. So,
You kind of mentioned that on your app, though, on your handheld device. I'm curious about anything else with that.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've actually got again, we put everything we do online almost. So there's a video there that talks a little bit about our AI journey, if you will. And I think anyway, it's I don't know. It's interesting for me to watch, but we talk a little bit about how we use it internally and things like that. But more for the products, we've got a bunch of stuff that we're putting out into the products that are AI related. Some that have been published in the products already, like our quality inspector makes a great deal of use of AI for managing inspection records and creating inspections, all sorts of fun stuff. And then I mentioned the AI app builder. Our configurator products, or configure price quote, has a describe to configure feature where you can just either talk or type in description of the product you're looking for, and it'll build it for you, right? Build the BOM and the routing and everything else. So those types of tools that we're building out and looking at.
Yeah, it's AI seems to be everywhere, and Copilot's jumping into all areas of Business Central. It'll be interesting to see where it goes and how we all work a few years from now.
I'm curious how Microsoft's going to, they've been talking about, and we were on a private preview for a while on how they want to build for that stuff. But, that's the one stumbling block that we find so far. We have, for example, an invoice reconciliation tool for dynamic ship, like in reconciling your carrier invoices. And, we don't charge for that module, but the customer has to have some AI subscriptions. And they're like, well, what do you think it's going to cost us to run? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I can't tell you.
it's still up in the air.
That is the big gorilla, because the prices sound reasonable, but you really don't know how to gauge how much you're going to consume to be, is it really reasonable, or what am I going to be charged? Because I can't tell you what it is.
Yeah, I think I struggle with that too, because I know, like, even for some side projects where you're using Azure AI, it really depends on whatever the content that you want the AI to read in terms of the documents. And sometimes they're like less of token use, and then sometimes they're like massive. There's just no way to gauge it. And so it gets pretty dangerous, I guess, because then you can spend a boatload of money for something that you just wanted to test. So that is a struggle.
Well, I think if Microsoft put that licensing within Business Central, so you didn't have to go out and deal with, getting a separate, Zero AI subscription and buying tokens or pay as you go, or like all that stuff. If they just made it easy within, sort of the Business Central admin center to set up a plan and maybe set a price limit, not necessarily a token limit or anything. Say, warn me when I hit $100 or $200 or whatever. If they could do that in Business Central, that would solve a lot of issues. So we'll see. I mean, I know they're working on it. They know all the pain points, probably better than us, but hopefully. So hopefully they'll deal with that.
Yes, it's all still it's still all in its infancy. So it's as far as the products are concerned, I'm not looking for prices specifically, but how are they typically licensed outside of free?
Free is the best. It varies. So we actually publish the prices on the website too, which is, again, a little unusual. So if you go to the bottom of each of those application pages, it'll give you sort of representative pricing, right? So we give annual discounts and 3-year discounts over the monthly subscription. But they're either licensed, so the Warehouse Insight is licensed per physical device. So you could have 20 people using one device, well, you need one license for that device. So Warehouse Insight is per device. Shop Floor Insight is per employee. So the employees that are out there scanning, have to have a license for shop floor. They don't need a Business Central license. They just need one of our licenses. Everything else, for the most part, is licensed by company, which means, I lie. Things like dynamic ship and counter sales are by location, but generally unlimited users, right? So per location or per company, unlimited users is the most common way of licensing our solutions.
Confirm, it does show pricing at the bottom of each of the product. That's awesome.
So anyway, we're trying to be as transparent as possible and allow people to sort of make those comparisons. I mean, people don't like doing that because it's a competitive disadvantage, maybe, because your competitors, they charge that, well, we'll charge 20% less, and we'll say we're the cheapest out there. Anyway, but it is what it is. We're an open book.
No, it is what it is. And again, you just have to be better. That's my new slogan. Usually it's just be. I follow Osho and saying just be. But now I think I'll expand it to be just be better. It solves a lot of problems. And I can tell you, even those that want to say that the cheapest product around or the cheapest price around doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best quality or it's cheaper in the long run. I've learned that quite well, and I've seen it many times that two people at $5 isn't cheaper than one person at 15, as I say, going on. So that's good to have. Good to know. Well, Mr. Mark, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us this afternoon, to talk with us about InsightWorks and the product suite that you have. If anybody would like more information, what's the best way to get in contact with you to learn about the products?
Probably the website, right? There's a chat box, a contact form, all that sort of thing, and somebody will jump on and help right away.
So it's dmsiworks.com, and we'll also have the link in the show notes as well. Those that want to use it, you have many great products. Anybody who hasn't looked at them or isn't using them, I highly recommend it. I've worked with Dynamic Ship, graphic scheduler, print note. I can't even remember the warehouse, the handheld. So it is a great product suite that's out there and offering to just where Business Central, as we had mentioned, may not have all of the gaps that you have. It's a fully comprehensive product, as you had mentioned. But if you have any unique requirements that aren't within the core application, I definitely recommend taking a look at these. Thank you very much again, and I look forward to talking to you soon. And
appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
And
we'll see you, I'm sure, at these conferences coming up, and we'll hold on to some stuff.
I'll absolutely be first in line. I'll be first in line. Right.
Sounds like a deal.
Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Anyway.
Bye. Thank you, Kris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, MATALINO.io. And my Twitter handle is Matalino16. And you can see those links down below in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.